This Tegrity video is meant to give you an introduction to citing or referencing sources using the 6th edition of the APA Style Manual and to show you examples of the most common types of references you might use. My name is Mary Aquila and I'll guide you through this session. The APA Style Manual is your source to find info about how to use APA. It is published by the American Psychological Association. We are currently using the 6th edition of the manual, published in 2009. It gives you the general format for your paper and how to reference sources in the text and how to prepare the reference list, plus many, many examples. This is the call number if you'd like to come and use it in the Athens State University Library. You can also find it at any public library, any large public library or academic library, or you can order it online if you would like. When you are using information from other sources other than your own experiences or opinions, these must be shown in two locations, in the text and in the reference list. Every source must appear in both places except personal communications. And personal communications are defined as communications or information that you get from another person, either by phone, in person, email, or through a letter. So what do you need to cite in the text of your paper? Any information that you use that is not known to the general population, a direct quote, information paraphrased from a source, that is information that you put into your own words, and information that you got through personal communication. The references you give for sources within your paper are called in-text citations. You can do this by using the author's last name and date of publication and placing them in parentheses. You can do it in two ways. You can do it within the sentence, putting it actually in the sentence like the first example. And you can also use the author's first name and then put the date after what you are citing. If no author is given, use the first words from the title. You can see the example there, good citizenship. That you'll also do for books too. If you're using an exact quote, something that you cut and paste or otherwise copy word from word, a source you have to include in the information we just talked about. You have to include the page numbers for your quotations. You see the first example after page 103. If it's a shorter quotation, and that means something less than 40 words, you can put it in quotations and the page number following in parentheses. If it's a little bit longer, 40 words or more, you will have to indent it on the right and left. You do not have to use quotes, but you still have to use the page numbers at the end of the quote. The information you need for your references can be found right here. You need the author or authors, the title of the journal, book, conference, etc., title of article, chapter if you're using a book chapter in the pages, for journals, volume and issue, for books, place of publication, publisher, for websites, the URL, which is the web address, the date of publication, and any miscellaneous information that may appear with it. When you prepare your reference list rules, the reference at the end, this is the information you will have to include. First, of course, you include the author. They're listed by the last name and the initials. This may be something you're a little bit not accustomed to because with MLA and Turabian, I believe you have to include the full name and not just the initials. The publication date goes between the author and the title in parentheses. Again, the anonymous entries begin with the title and then use the date. The book and article titles have only certain words capitalized. This is very important to remember because students forget this a lot. The first word of the title and the subtitle and any proper nouns or any adjectives derived from proper nouns. Book and journal titles are underlined or italicized. And online sources are treated just like print sources, except you include the URL, the web address. Let's start by reviewing the reference list for articles. Here you will reference to journal articles will include the author, date, article title, journal title, volume number, the issue, which is not listed there, but if it's included, you must include it in the reference, and the pages. Here you see kind of an example of what you may use: the author AA, author BB, and then a third author, the year parentheses, the title of the article, title of periodical, and the volume number, which you see is italicized, and the pages. And here you have an example following, and you can follow that model for all the articles that you reference. If the article does not give an author, again, you should start with the title. Here's an example of the way you would do that: article title, date in parentheses, title periodical, volume number, and pages. And notice the title of periodical and volume number is italicized. Here's a good example: Just Good Business. And you'll notice here you put the full date, January 19th, because The Economist is a weekly journal, and you don't want to have someone to have to go through, a whole year of journal articles. If you have an article from an internet periodical, and that is one that is published on the internet and not in paper, it is exactly the same as a regular periodical, except you add the web address at the end and you say retrieve from, and you can see the example here. Now let's talk about the references for books. References to books include author, date, title, place of publication, and publisher. You see a model example here: the author, the year of publication in parentheses, title of work, location, and publisher. Again, notice the first word of the title and subtitle is capitalized. That's very important to remember. If you're using a chapter from a book, you're going to reference that particular chapter. So you're going to give the author of the chapter, the author of the title of the chapter, and the editors of the book. And also the other information: date, title, title of book, title of article, pages, place of publication, publishers. So here's a good example. Again, you can follow this example in any book chapters that you reference. You can read it. You have the author, the initial, the date in parentheses, the title of the article, next, net business. And notice again, net and China are both capitalized, the first word of the title and subtitle. Then you put in to indicate the editors. You can see how you should do that. Then the title of the book is italicized. Again, Chinese and technological are both capitalized, and the page numbers and the publisher. A lot of you will also use web documents and websites as sources. You can basically treat these as you would treat print. Like I mentioned before, you add the URL. So let's look at an example for a web document with the authors first, date of publication, again in parentheses, title of document, retrieve from, and the web address. And then you can see the example, the actual example below. And again, you can model all your web documents that you get. And again, a web document, not again, but a web document is a page within a website that you're going to reference. If you're referencing an entire website, usually the websites don't have authors. So start with the name of the website, the date of publication, and again, the retrieve from and the web address. And you can see an example here: BSR, Business for Social Responsibility, the date, and retrieve from. Okay, when you're preparing the reference list that will come at the end of your paper, these are a few things you may keep in mind. At the top, you will put the word references. It will be bold. It will be in upper and lowercase letters. Then you alphabetize all the entries by author, or again, title if there's no author. Use a hanging indent, about a 1/2 inch. The second line will be indented a 1/2 inch. And then double space the entire list unless your instructor says otherwise. Here's an example of a reference list, and we're just using all the examples we used today in the presentation. It would be double spaced. This isn't double spaced because I couldn't fit it all in the screen, but notice there's references at the top. It's bold. The entries are alphabetized, and you see Just Good Business, that's alphabetized as the title. You'll notice the web addresses aren't active links, they're just in standard format. So you can model your reference list just like this one or from this one. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You see my email address. It's mary.aquila@athens.edu. You can also call me. My phone number is in the reference forum list. It's not on here, but it's 216-6651. Or you can just call reference and you can ask a reference librarian there. They can connect you to me. Anyone should be able to help. You can see the reference number here, 256-216-6661, or you can email the ref desk and someone will reply to you. During normal business hours, we do have somebody here on the weekends, so they may be able to email you during the weekends too, just at the reference desk, from the reference desk. And then if you have a question about a general library service, you can call the circulation desk and they would be happy to help. So I look forward to working with everyone, and I hope this information was clear, and read through it and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.